Children's Commission, Russell Wills, is calling for medical cannabis trials.
That's
why is New Zealand not committing to that?
Well, that's a completely different issue. Can I just take a moment to explain? There are two products around. There's a product called Sativex, which is currently available in New Zealand. It is a spray that people inhale, okay? There's another product, which was the one that was talked about on the television program last weekend, called Epidiolex, which is not available in New Zealand. But if the manufacturers agree to it, then patients can be put on the trial subject to getting ministerial approval, which is actually a process that's relatively straightforward if they apply.
Trevor Mallard, what about you? Do you think that marijuana, it's time to ask that question, legalise marijuana?
No, it's certainly time to have the discussion. I think it should be held in the context of a health discussion, though, rather than one of a Crimes Act discussion. But what I would point out is I'm not absolutely certain that cannabis would pass the sort of tests that we're applying to the drugs that Peter had previously legalised.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor's absolutely right. All of the evidence that I've seen suggests that under the type of regime we're contemplating, cannabis wouldn't actually pass anyway.
If you have a discussion, make it a short one, because I don't think we should legalise cannabis at all.
At all, straight up?
No, straight up.
Right.
I know there's people here that feel like there's medicinal value in it, and I think that coming back to
But aren't there medicinal qualities? I mean, you've just poo-pooed the whole idea of sort of having a recreational path, but don't people... Isn't there some value in that?
I was just going to say, it'd have to be regulated like Peter was saying. I mean, it's a bit of a personal story, but my own brother, whom I lost to mental illness, was a cannabis user, right? It aggravated his symptoms. It didn't help or ease them.
Okay.
So I just can't buy into that argument. So
Jan, Logie, what do you think? That question.
Along with the Law Commission, a lot of medical experts, the Greens support decriminalisation. And I just want to touch on that because I can speak from my own experience as well. There are many reasons to support decriminalisation. One of them, for me, the biggest driving one, is harm minimisation. And I had depression for a while and was smoking cannabis, and it was really bad for me. I had really bad results. And there's no way I would have gone to get the help that I actually needed because it was illegal. And we need to bring this out into the open so that people who are experiencing harm can get the help they need.
I've got with me Paul Quigley. Now, he's at the pit phase. He's an emergency care specialist at Wellington Hospital. He sees people coming in on a Friday night. Now, I've got to say, just a personal experience, just after the Olympics, I was in Amsterdam, of all places. I was there on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday night. And I've got to say, people were mostly stoned, but the behaviour I saw on the streets in Amsterdam was infinitely better than the behaviour we see here in Wellington and Courtenay Place on a Saturday and a Friday night. What do you think?
Yeah, well, certainly cannabis as a primary presenter to the emergency department just doesn't happen. I mean, alcohol is the driver behind all the sort of outrageous behaviours and harms and things. With the synthetic cannabis, we did actually see presentations where the problem was synthetic cannabis. And that's because it was like 5 to 15 times more potent than organic cannabis. And people were just flipping out. They were just hitting these extremes very quick. But we very rarely see someone with problems from actual marijuana, from actual organic cannabis.
So in your view, is it time for a debate on the legalisation of marijuana?
Certainly it's very much the time for a debate, but I think a stepwise progression is always the way to go, so potentially looking at decriminalisation. Legalisation is actually like condoning it. It's actually saying go and have it and help yourself, and then you have to put in everything else with it. So some countries that have done it, like Portugal, have said that if you take self-responsibility for it, you mustn't harm anyone else. So you have to put in very strict laws about if you take drugs and hurt someone, or you steal something, or you crash something, then the weight of the law will come down. And we're not ready for that. We don't have that infrastructure.
Just very quickly, synthetic cannabis, should it have been made illegal?
Well, we were very surprised that it was all removed because the fundamental premise of the legislation is excellent, that they have to prove the safety at a manufacturing level.
And there is some safe?
Yes, potentially there is. Well, there were about 6 other substances about to be removed. So the ones that were on the market, they had their CARM reports had come in, that's the harm reports, and then they were about to be removed. And that would have left some products behind that were basically fairly trivial. But if they want to get them back on the shelves, then all they've got to do is prove it.